Greetings, dear precious spirit soul that you are. And these are still just words, and words can never describe you because you are beyond words. Now, my topic. Are you a human cell tower? And what are you receiving and broadcasting? Each person is more powerful than probably most people realize. And it's just like, we're all psychic and intuitive, however you want to call that, whether we know it or not. And the more we tune in to who we are, the more we activate and acknowledge all of our, you might call, supernatural powers and abilities, but are actually really natural. But we call them supernatural because most people don't know that or haven't recognized that because they were never taught that this is true and real, and actually been told that you are not intuitive and you're not psychic. So anyway, as a cell tower, you might say, as an antenna. And we're also emanating energy and consciousness and thoughts and feelings and emotions. So what happens is, if you consider each one of us, especially it's important to go barefooted. Some people, maybe for years, never experience what it's like to breathe. They're breathing, but they never feel actually the sensation of the breath in the nostrils and into the lungs. And they haven't taken their shoes off, wiggled their feet in the water or in the soil and just experienced grounding, and are always in synthetic socks and shoes, pounding the pavement, always, on the sidewalk, in the floors of the house, and it jars the entire body. But anyway, so each one of us is, in a sense, an antenna and a transmitter. And whatever is our state of mind, our consciousness, is what we are broadcasting. See, it's broadcasting, you're casting it out. And also that is a result of what we've also been receiving. So if we are, and how we're influenced by other people, by their attitudes and by their emotions and by their actions, if we allow ourselves to take on, you might call, their frequencies. And a frequency is different than a vibration. Okay, a vibration in the sense of spirituality cannot be measured. You are not measurable. But frequencies are measurable because they are physical in that sense. So when you think about that, when you have God consciousness, which is really all you need, and that is the consciousness of the divine, that you are so fully immersed in who you are because you're only receiving and acknowledging that which is truthful and empowering and enriching and inspiring, because it's you. And you're also not sending out fear and guilt and hate and any of this, because whatever we take on, however we've received it or however we believe that to be, that is what is controlling us and directing our divine energies beyond even cosmic energy that we direct and have. So you want to notice yourself and others as sending and receiving devices, and a device, interesting. And when you're around someone who has been receiving and acknowledging and agreeing with limitations and envy and jealousy and moodiness and judging, and all this is what the mind does. It does that all the time. It's all the time because it's part of the time machine. So when we're immersed in that, and you're watching that on any movie things or internet or television or movie theater or watching it or engaged in it, that is going into your, would you say, your device. And then it's controlling and determining what you do. You see, it's all narrative. And what that means is everything's a story. If I just eliminate all the stories right now, if I'm not allowing the mind, you know what I'm experiencing? I'm experiencing my feet, because I have socks on. It's a little cold, but I'm standing here. I could feel some of the stones and rocks under my feet. I can feel, and I'm feeling the dampness and little coolness of the sand. Okay. My body, I could feel like I'm in these clothes, so I feel cozy, you know, I could feel that. I could feel the clothes touching my body. As I smell, you know, I could smell the fragrances, you know, wonderful fragrances in the air. And what do I see? Here I'm looking at nature. I'm looking at these beautiful autumn colors. Of course, my faves, haha. And as you have guessed. So, but they're colors. Anyway. So what I'm doing is actually just being. And so what happens is most people aren't being at all. Wherever they are, they're thinking. They're receiving what's going on with everybody else. They're sending out whatever they've been receiving and been believing. So most people are toxic. They're an accident going somewhere to happen. They are a lie about truth in advertising. They're pretending to be something or someone else and not being who they are, because they're all caught up in concepts and narratives and stories and rules and regulations and definitions as to what anything means and what that means to you. And the key then is when we really get that, you begin to observe, you have to observe, and you'll notice that and you'll get that, is that you bring yourself into the now. That means right now, just notice where you are. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to be where I am, but that's where you are. Yeah, it's not where you are also. It's both, because it's both. It's not partial truth or half truth, and it's probably, and beyond that, we're trying to figure it out, but it's really the divine and beyond figuring out. So that means that you want to be a sender and a receiver. You want to be an antenna as well as a broadcasting device, in a sense, which you're not a device, of that which is empowering, enriching, nourishing, to all animals and humans, because humans are not animals. Science will tell you that. Science is seance. Just because someone tells me that, I don't believe it. I don't believe anything. I don't need to believe. I believe this and I believe that. No. I only know what I know. And so when I use my studies of the ancient teachings and wisdom of the mystics and who we really are and how things and how it all operates, I start noticing. I could notice myself, and as I increase my abilities of observation and noticing, you notice things that most people don't even notice, even when it's right there in plain sight, because they have received also hypnotic trances. They've received suggestions. They've received instructions that say, these aren't the droids you're looking for. It's like, you don't see that over there. You don't notice that over there. It's not there. This is the way it is. So you have to notice, what are you receiving? And also, what are you giving out? Because it's affecting and influencing you. And what we tend to think is, well, my hatred and my anger and my justification for being mean and nasty is because of something you did, so I could do that and I could bring that on. This is what you're doing to yourself. And this is called Armageddon. It's it's called divide and conquer. And you are divided from yourself. And so that's why it's most important for each of us to acknowledge how we function. And then because of that, let's receive truth and knowledge, our own inner wisdom, great teachings, not that we become believers, but we use those teachings as instructions of how to realize real knowledge, of who we are and how to really activate our true divine nature. And then you're also very conscious of what you're giving out, because it's like so many people are like, they're toxic and poisonous, and other people, it's just like a breath of fresh air. It's like they're, they light up the place with their beautifulness. I met a lady the other day. Because I like to collect people. And I just, wow, what a gem, just beautiful, bright, cool person, conscious. You could talk with, you could be with, so many people, they're now so full of hate because they're receiving that and then they're giving it out. But have you ever noticed how much disease there is in the world? How much the nature is having a hard time? How much people are suffering? Where? How's that? It's thought, you see. And what interesting enough is to realize that, we're thought generating machines. That's what we've been acting as, and thought receiving machines, and analyzing and figuring out all of this and emotionalizing it, and how much energy that takes and time that takes and effort that takes, and fear and insecurities, and we get triggered and all of this, and then someone else is directing our narrative. So whoever is controlling what you think and believe, the stories, the narratives, they control your actions. And they do that level upon level upon level because media controls that. So that's when you have to be your own authority. And that means that you become self-regulating. You take back and own yourself and stop giving yourself away and your powers away as if when you do that, they're going to give you something. They never give you anything. You already have it all. That's who you are. But you got to name it and claim it and then activate yourself that way. So wouldn't it be wonderful that each one of us, as a self-generating, self-actualizing, self-activating, truly divine being, that wherever we walk is holy ground, and that anyone who ever even puts us in their consciousness immediately is restored to who they really are. Really know all the power is with you already. Own it, direct it, use it.